Hey guys, what's up? This is gonna be my disc priest guide, and could you please head over to my channel, check out my latest video, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna jump right into this guide. And I think the best thing to start off with would probably be talents. 15, you're going to want to go with spectral guys, mainly because it lets you take your target off from other players. It's a 6-second stealth, and you can be really sneaky with it and use it to get off your fears or kite or get away from other players. Angelic Bulwark is pretty much only good when you're being trained, and same with Desperate Prayer. And they're just not as good as Spectral Guys. Spectral Guys can be used in a lot more situations than both of those, and it has a 30-second cooldown. So your best choice is gonna be Spectral Guys. Tier 30. Tier 30, I'd say Angelic Feather is the best. That's what everyone's using right now, and everyone used last expansion. Basically, it has a lot more longevity when we're talking about movement speed compared to the other ones. Phantasm, I guess that's how you pronounce it. It's good, but it's pretty selfish. You can only use it on yourself. And Angelic Feather, you can use it on all your teammates, increase all their speeds, and that's just, you can't really top that. Body and Soul is the same. You can use it on your other players. That's good and all, but it's basically only when you have Power Word Shield, and Power Word Shield puts up a 12-second effect, but doesn't let you use it again for 12 seconds, and it has a 1-second cooldown, which isn't bad, but yeah, that 12 seconds just, it's gonna be a no-go even if you get the glyph. So yeah, Angelic Feather is just a lot better. Tier 45. Tier 45, you're probably going to be swapping in and out of the most for a lot of comps and 3s and 2s. I'm just gonna go through this very quick. Surge of Light, basically you have an 8% chance to get 2 flashlight procs, make them instant and cost no mana, and that's really good if you're being trained or if someone's taking a lot of pressure. Because if you were to sit there, or not even sit there, let's just say go right up behind them or wherever you think you're safe, you'd have to sit there and catch that flash heal, and that's a lot of time when you're sitting there spamming 3 flash heals for someone to come over, see it and stun you or interrupt you. You can't be interrupted of an instant cast. It's just, yeah, you're just gonna be able to get a lot more healing out, a lot more burst healing, and it's just gonna help you out in the long run. Mindbender, I swap out of Surge of Light and Mindbender the most, because Mindbender basically prevents you from ever going ooh. And by that I mean your Mindbender will generate a lot more mana from its attacks and substantially more damage. Has a 1-minute cooldown, so you can basically pop it every 1 minute when it's up, and it's quite a bit of mana. But when you're using food and drinks and stuff, it's not, I don't know, it's not as good for burst healing. It doesn't give you that burst healing, and it's okay for certain situations when you know it's gonna be a long game and you need all that mana. But Surge of Light just seems to help the most in a lot more situations. Power Word Solace is good. It does quite a bit of damage, and it restores 2% of your maximum mana, so that's 2% every 10 seconds. Triggers Atonement, places Holy Fire. That's good and all, but it's just not as useful as Mindbender and Surge of Light when it comes to mana, and yeah, mana and burst healing. For one, it doesn't give you really any heals, and it's just for damage pressure and a little bit of mana. So Surge of Light or Mindbender is gonna be your best options. Level 60, you're probably going to go with Psychic Scream more than Dominate Mind. The reason why you don't want to go with Dominate Mind is because for some stupid reason there's a glitch with it, and you've probably seen it in the forums because a lot of people are pissed, and it's happened to me, and it really will piss you off. Basically what it happens is when there's like 0.1 second left of your cast, or as soon as you go into the point of view, like when you see, like you're in their mind, I guess, and you see from their point of view, your game has a tendency to crash and take you to the login screen. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound that good. Yeah, for obvious reasons, as you can tell. So use of caution, but after I say these two, you're probably not going to use that at all. Psychic Scream, that's your fear. That's your 8-second fear. AoE, 45-second cooldown. Yeah, most people use this the most. It's just a lot more useful. Breaking up fights, getting some pressure off, or putting some pressure on by fearing the healer and going hard on that DPS, or the other way around. Void Tendrils is pretty good for when you're being trained by like a melee or someone that just seems to get out of your fears all the time, like warriors for instance. It's good for those peels, but that's just very situational. Psychic Scream can be used in just about every situation. So just depending on what comp, Psychic Scream or Void Tendrils. 75 tier, you'll be swapping out of these every once in a while. I like to use Power Infusion and Twist of Fate. Powered Infusion is really good for those burst heals. Keep in mind it can be dispelled. That's its downfall. 2-minute cooldown, increases your haste by 25% and reduces the mana cost of all spells by 20% for 20 seconds. So let's say your teammate's taking a lot of damage, a lot of pressure going out, and maybe they can't dispel you, or there's not that many, they don't have that many dispels if you're doing threes. Then Power Infusion is going to be your best choice, because you sit here, pop your Power Infusion, he's taking a lot of damage, and look how fast these flash heals are. Just look at that. It's really good for burst heals, especially when you're using Surge of Light. You're going to be able to get a lot of procs out, and yeah, that's really good for burst healing when people are taking a lot of pressure. Twist of Fate, it's a passive, and after healing a target below 35% health, you deal 15% increased damage and healing for 10 seconds. That's really good if you're going up against a comp that does have a lot of dispels, and most people will dispel your Power Infusion when they see it pop up. So if you need that increased healing, Twist of Fate is going to be the best choice. If they don't have if they have a lot of dispels, Twist of Fate is going to be their best choice. 90 tier, I don't feel like people use their 90 tier as much as they should, or they don't see it as useful. But Divine Star is going to be your best choice. I'm just going to say it right now, it's just common sense. Halo, it's not good compared to Divine Star, and Cascade is not good to Divine Star. Divine Star is really mobile. Yeah, it's really mobile. It heals targets that are in front of it and on the way back, and it's really good for generating Surge of Light procs, basically instant flash heal procs. It's really good for that. It's really good if you're on the move, you need to come up to someone, get the heal off, run, just proc, there you go. So yeah, Divine Star, it's pretty self-explanatory, and it's pretty useful and mobile compared to the other two. Tier 100. People are still figuring these out, I feel like, and so far the most useful ones is Saving Grace and Word of Mending, depending on your playstyle, I'd guess. Word of Mending, basically, when you gain 10 stacks of Word of Mending, your next targeted healing or shielding spell also casts a Prayer of Mending. The best thing about this is it's free and it's instant. And as a disc priest, you're going to be casting a lot and popping a lot of heals. As you see right there, there's 1, there's 2. Let's get some going. 5, 6. You get the gif. At 7, you'll... Not 7. At 10, you'll get a proc. And yep, that guy, whoever that lands on, basically, whoever you're healing gets an instant Prayer of Mending. That's really good. Saving Grace. Saving Grace is really good when the target's taking a lot of pressure or you're trying to keep them up. The downside to this is while it does heal for a lot, it reduces your absorbs and healing done by 10% for 8 seconds, stacking up to 10 times. So you can't sit there and cast this a lot, or else you will heal basically nothing, because you know all those stacks are on you and you're not healing and your absorption shit. So it's good for situations. But yeah, it's good if you need that burst heal, but and you're not afraid of the reduced healing. That's pretty much all it's good for. WoD Mending, yeah, basically you can't beat a free prayer Mending, and it actually pops up more often than you think. Yeah, you have to cast 10 healing spells to get it, but in arena you're casting as this so much. It's just they're gonna be proccing like everywhere. So that's talents. Rewatch the video if you didn't understand any of those. Leave a comment, I'll explain it more. I've kind of just went through those pretty fast. I might have left something out. If I did, I'm sorry. Just leave a comment please, and I'll get back to you. Glyphs are actually pretty situational, and I'm happy with the glyphs that they have right now. Mass Dispel is going to be one of your main glyphs. You need to have that. Causes your Mass Dispel to be potent enough to remove magic effects that are normally undispellable. You can cleanse. You can finally cleanse clones. You can remove bubbles, and yes, paladin bubbles. I'm talking about paladin bubbles. You can remove a lot of things with Mass Dispel, and it's very useful. You can remove mage's ice blocks, and it's just really good. Penance, you're always gonna have penance activated. If you don't have penance activated, something's wrong. Basically, increases the mana cost of penance by 20%, yeah, but allows penance to be cast while moving, and that's very mobile and very good. And basically, the most OP thing about this is penance heals for a lot. Like if you get a full penance off, that's like 50% health right there. And what's really cool about this is, let's say this is a pull right now. I'm LOSing. Okay, I can step out, cast it, and get into this pull. He's out of my line of sight, but it will still go through the object and heal him. So that will prevent you from getting interrupted. And to me, that's just OP. For your third slot, you're probably going to swap between Inquisitor for like hunters, dodge some traps. Mages, you can dodge polys. If I was you, I'd do skirmishes and practice. It takes a little bit to to get those off in time, but once you get it down, you'll just be blocking everything. Basically, your Holy Fire and Power Word Solace deal 25% additional damage, but 25% of that damage is also dealt back to you. You may be like, why would dealing damage back to me be good? Because Polymorph breaks on damage, traps break on damage, what else? Blind breaks on damage, and if you're really good and sneaky with this, if you see a trap flying at you, you can see when someone's casting a trap. You swap to their frame or whatever, you have your macro ready, and you Holy Fire them. And basically, as soon as the trap hits you, it breaks off because the damage that you did comes back to you and it breaks it. Or a Polymorph. They're both pretty easy to see when being cast. So those are really good. Those will set you pretty far in the arena. You're not sitting through all of those. Shadow Magic is a must. You need to have Shadow Magic. For 5 seconds after activating Fade, you are immune to silence and interrupt effects, but the cooldown of Fade is increased by 60%. Okay, the thing is, you don't ever use Fade anyways without this. You never use it, so you might as well make it useful. And the fact that for 5 seconds you are immune to silence and interrupt effects it's just OP. It's good. It's pretty good. You're gonna have that your third almost every arena. That's really good. Really good glyph. Weaken Soul you use once in a while. Reduces the duration of your Weaken Soul effect caused by Power Word Shield by 2 seconds. If you don't know what that is, let me explain. If I was going to cast Power Word Shield on myself right now, a debuff pops up and it's called Weaken Soul. I cannot use or be affected by Power Word Shield for 5 seconds on myself or the target I casted it on. So that reduces that by 2 seconds. So you can pop more shields out. So yeah, I'll go over that one more time, make it pretty clear. You're going to be using Mass Dispel a lot. If you're going to look at the comp that doesn't have anything you can really dispel, you're going to want to pop in Shadow Magic or Weakened Soul or Inquisitor, one of those two. Basically you're always going to keep Penance, that's going to be a permanent one. Reflective Shield, I didn't really go over this, but causes 70% of the damage you absorb a Power Word shield to reflect back at its attacker. That's good and all, but you're going to want Shadow Magic in that top 3, basically at all times too. Shadow Magic should be permanent. Inquisitor, it's obviously only when you go against hunters, mages, stuff like that you can break. So those are gonna be the ones you're gonna be swapping in and out of. So yeah, that's pretty much your talents and glyphs. It's pretty easy to understand once you start using them. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'd love to answer them. I did feel like I talked pretty fast in this video. It's just a really bad habit when I'm recording, and I'm sorry about that. So just please feel free to rewind, ask questions, tell me to slow down, and yeah, if this helps, tell me. Please like and subscribe, and if there's anything I could work on or anything else you know about priests, please feel free to comment and tell me, and I'd love to know. And with that being said, thanks for watching, and I hope this guide helps. Peace out.